Blow dryer?
No.
Does it not work?
Y'all don't say that. You'll burn my head. Hey guys, Vinyl Vixen and Slim Shetty.
What's up?
Here at Wrap Sesh. We're being loud. Today, we are reviewing the Cheetah Wraps film, which is gonna be a game changer in the vinyl industry. Right here, Cheetah Wraps. So if you guys don't know who Cheetah Wraps is, we're about to tell you.
Well, they probably already know, but it's different this time.
But it's vastly different.
Yeah.
This is a brand new film on the market from a supplier that has never made film before. This is a huge deal. We actually tested this film out. So one thing I want to point out about this Cheetah Wraps film, which is made by Fellers, their sister companies, is we were not paid to do this video.
No.
Right? Nobody paid us.
No.
That would be nice, but nobody paid us. We volunteered to do the episode.
You don't get paid for this.
The reason why we volunteered to do this episode is because I think, like I said, this is a game changer film. I absolutely love it, and I want to tell you guys all the ins and outs of it, and get some people installing this film because it really is fantastic.
It's a pretty good film. I would say it's up there with the competitors, the top competitors.
I would actually dare to say that this is my favorite film right now on the market, and
close.
it just came out.
Well, we've only used 2 colors.
Well, we did a full wrap.
We did a full wrap.
In the background, we did this Forerunner. They did actually pay us to do the full wrap, but they did not pay us to do the video, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, the wrap though turned out super clean. The material's very smooth.
So nice.
It's very nice because you don't get as many work lines. It actually has a matte adhesive. So the adhesive is like literally there's 0 tack until you actually apply pressure and heat. So it's it's very controllable. You don't have it tacking in places where you don't want it to tack.
Very user friendly.
Yeah.
And that's what matters to us as installers. So we're gonna go over all the ins and outs, the pros and cons of this film, some tips for laying it down if you guys are interested, and we'll give you all the information on how you can order it.
Tippies.
Tippy. Ooh, that was nice. All right, so if you guys are asking who is Cheetah Wraps, I'm about to explain it to you. So Cheetah Wraps is a sister brand of Fellers. Fellers is the largest material supplier in the world. They're our main homies that we use often. There's actually 2 locations here in Arizona, in Phoenix and Mesa. So we can normally get most of our films the day of from Fellers. They're really, really great. Their customer service is fantastical. Our local rep is Brian. He is the best. Thank you, Brian. Okay, so back to Cheetah Wraps. So Cheetah Wrap, basically what they used to do is sell Avery and 3M film unwarranted, and so it was a little bit cheaper. So most of your rolls are usually between $550 to $750, right? Cheetah Wraps would sell it almost $100 cheaper. They just wouldn't warranty it or anything. So you get just a little bit better deal on it. I personally prefer having warranty. In this past year, I've returned a lot of material for defects, imperfections, speckling with the adhesive, install problems, a lot of film I've returned. So it's very important to me to have that warranted film. So basically what they did is they dropped the Avery and 3M films off their website on Cheetah Wraps, and now you can only purchase this Cheetah Wrap film. But keep in mind, it's created by Fellers, and Fellers has been in the industry over 30 years. He started out in his garage doing vinyl and selling it, and I think that's really cool, really humbling startup. He's kind of supported us since day one. We love you guys to death over at Fellers. Thank you, Frank. But anyways, this Cheetah Wrap film, they came in a nice little box. This is our little sample box we got. This is the color book. I believe it's about 25 bucks. And here are their colors, which I think they have around, I want to say it's around 30 colors right now. They've got gloss, matte, satin, they've got some metallics in here, pearlescence, really nice colors. There's a lot of popular colors in here that you're gonna see from other leading companies that produce vinyl. Really nice colors, first off. So basically this film is manufactured in the US. It's a full cast film, so totally conformable, meant for car wraps, fantastic air release, fantastic slidability, and we're gonna go over all that later. Here's some of the film right here. So we tested out this Satin Nardo Gray. If you guys see, it actually has a matte adhesive, which is really interesting. I really like it. You can't really stick to it until you want to stick to it. So the key with this stuff is pressure and heat. So this is the gray. And then all of their gloss colors actually have a cover film, which is like game changer to me. Not a lot of films have cover films. So the way you remove this cover film, I'm going to show you. I usually just start on the back side, so this is the adhesive side, and I just do a surface cut. So what I'm doing, I'm just surface cutting the vinyl. See that cover film? So that's the easiest way to get your cover film started, is if you cut from the back, little tip. So you want to make sure you remove this before you install. Now, the reason why they do this is so you don't get any orange peel. A lot of times when you have gloss black, I hate installing gloss black. It looks bad, it's foggy, it's hazy. There's terrible orange peel. I usually have to do an extra step of steaming it at the end just to make it look passable. You don't have this. So it's a really deep saturated black. You don't have orange peel, you don't have any of that. So really, really cool with them doing this cover film. So basically pricing for them, it's a little different than your average film. They don't sell it by the yard. They actually sell it by the roll or by the third of a roll. So you can buy a whole roll, any color, and it's $3.95. And that's because Cheetah Wraps is making it. They're selling it directly. They're manufacturing it, they're shipping it and everything. So that's where you get your cost cut down. They don't sell it to anybody else. You can only get it at cheetahwraps.com. But basically it's $3.95 for a 75-foot roll, or you can buy a 25-foot roll for $155. And it's free shipping, comes usually in 1 to 2 days, really easy. They also gave us these wrap gloves for Cheetah Wraps, really cool. But yeah, we're gonna go over some of the aspects of this film that we really like, compare it to some of the other films on the market. So first bullet point is gonna be the slidability aspect of it. So let's get some of this gray. This is the Satin Nardo Gray.
So what you'll notice is, I don't know if you can see from there, but it's like a matte adhesive. So there's literally like no tack to it.
This is actually the lowest tack in the industry
right now. It just like...
So you can drag it.
Yeah,
and it's not
it moves around until you obviously tack it, just like any other material, but it's very, very, like, you can pick it right back up until you actually throw some actual nice pressure and heat. So the heat really lets it sit down.
Right, but so squeegee from here down really quick, just from here. So even when you squeegee too, now pull it back up to right here.
Yeah, it comes up super easy. But
and do you have any lines? That's what's most important.
So I pulled that up. Now I'm gonna actually just squeegee that back down, and there's
no lines.
Pretty much nothing there. And if there is, it actually does a very good job of relaxing. Yeah, over maybe a couple hours or so after you're done squeegeeing. So all those squeegee lines and stuff that you get, they do go away.
Yeah. So I mean, if you follow our social media, you've probably heard us complain about film problems and defects. Like I said, we've returned so much film in the past year with different issues from all sorts of brands and all sorts of colors. One of my biggest complaints is going to be one is the slidability issue, and then the work lines or adhesive lines, whatever you want to call them, glue lines,
and
whatever.
Those are the worst. I mean, and every installer out there, I know you can relate to it because it's just, what is that?
It was a hair. Okay.
But it's just like, it's something that's inevitable and you're gonna get it no matter what. And it really sucks because it
looks really bad.
It just looks bad.
And people notice it. And it's really hard when you're doing things like an antenna or a
bumper that you're trying to work in.
Something you have tarped over another piece. And then if you don't cut that out right away and get it worked down, you have this big line of where the material was sitting.
Unless you're just being very smart how you install it. And even then, it's, as soon as you start to work it, you get those lines. It makes them
very time sensitive. So that's one huge problem you're gonna see is when you're tarping stuff and getting those adhesive lines. With this film, you really don't get it. It's very, very minimal.
And when you do, it's very minimal.
Yeah.
It's
so like we've been able to well, check this piece out real quick.
So this piece, we've had this tarped over this actual little dip here on this wing. We're gonna see if it
makes an adhesive line.
If it makes a line now that's been sitting there for probably about minutes now. So this stuff heats up really good. I mean, it relaxes really nice.
So you can see there's a very minimal adhesive line right here, but it actually is going to relax a lot. And we'll give you guys a little close-up of that so you can see.
It's very hard to see. So
it's like not even there.
So if this was any other material, I mean, you're going to see it.
More obvious.
You're going to see it, yeah.
Right, and two, if you're picking this up again, like this is already squeegeed and you're picking this up, doing that,
always
every
makes
little
lines.
line, you're going to get an adhesive line. And that just, it drives me crazy. It makes the finish look really bad. You don't get that with this film. So that's a huge bonus. The air release on it is fantastic. So even if it looks like it's tacked down somewhere,
like
if you
this.
haven't ran a squeegee over it, you will be able to get that air out. So a lot of times you don't even need like a pen poker, like we use this a lot when working with films to poke out bubbles, because the air groups up into a bubble. With this film, it disperses a lot more, so it spreads that air out instead of grouping it, if that makes sense.
Everything just works out really nice.
It just works nice. It installs
You can just push
really nice.
all the bubbles right out. They
just push out because it's so low tack. And even with the pressure aspect of it, it really doesn't sit down and hold until you've really heated it. And that's one thing to keep in mind with this film, is that heat and pressure are a must. So you have to use a lot more pressure when you're installing. When we pull things like bumpers or the mirrors or the handles, you really have to push hard around the edge just to secure that film. Otherwise, it just pops up right away because it's so low tack.
But if you ever have any problems of it not sticking to a spot, like around a corner or something, and you know that it's clean and it's not just because it's dirty, you just want to heat it first. So since this is a matte material, and it has that high tack, you're just going to want to warm up the material, and that literally will activate that adhesive and it will stick. So. Right. It's definitely a nice little property. I was saying it's kind of like driving a manual. You have a lot more control of what you're doing.
What you're doing with
it. Yeah, so it doesn't just tack in places that you don't want it to. It doesn't just,
You're not fighting it.
You're not fighting it the whole time.
It's really easy to work because it doesn't do anything you want until you apply heat or pressure. So you can move it around, you can pick it up, do whatever you want, and it's not going to affect the finish of it. And that's really important for us. You can't be ripping up vinyl a bunch nowadays because you get all those lines and dirt, and it's just really frustrating.
So I just heated that right there. And
now it's pretty solid.
Yeah. So it's on there. And
but now
you
work
just saw
that back down. Do you get an adhesive line?
Well, it won't even come up.
No, put it down.
But that's showing you that just that heat literally made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. And that's one really important thing with this film is post-heating is a must. I know there's a lot of places that don't even post-heat, like when they do graphics wraps or
always
things like
post-heat.
You should always post-heat everything.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Down, especially color change, but especially your edges. And with this film, you really have to post-heat. I recommend using a wrap, some kind of wrap glove, and then using like a heat gun and hitting all your edges. When you post-heat, if you missed any air, that's when it's going to be noticeable. It's going to come up.
It's going to bubble up.
But like I said, it doesn't come as a bubble. It disperses over the whole surface. So what I recommend doing when you're post-heating is using your heat gun or whatever and rubbing the surface down with a wrap glove just to make sure all of that air is out because it's so low tack.
So literally what you'll do is, and this is mostly on just like gloss black and stuff. So like a lot of this color, I mean, you really don't need to go over it again. It's always a good idea because it definitely, that way you make sure that it's down. But especially that gloss black, you can just see your squeegee marks, and so going over it with the heat gun really evens it all out.
Definitely.
And so but yeah, you definitely just want to go over everything. Once you get it tacked down, see if bubbles just push right out.
Push out.
But yeah, just go over it, kind of rub it all down nice and warm.
Pressure.
And pressure.
Pressure and heat.
And this stuff, I mean, it's awesome.
But now
it holds well.
Do it again how you were just dragging it. It doesn't stick to anything.
Until you
push on it.
But even then, it pops right back up until you heat it.
Super low tack.
So it's very controllable. You just need to know how to control it.
Right. You have to keep that in mind. It's going to be different than what you've ever really used before. So way different. And like I said, heat and pressure. That is the best advice I could give you on this film. Let's talk about the gloss really quick. So once again, that gloss has a cover film. The reason why they do that cover film,
See how it's all scratched? I did that.
yeah, we scratched it on purpose. So there's a bunch of scratches on it. We're gonna remove this cover film. Why don't you remove that? They use the cover film to eliminate orange peel is one thing, and then a fog or a haziness. So if you guys are installers and you've seen glass black vinyl, it sucks. It looks really bad. I hate installing glass black. This stuff actually looks really nice. It's a really saturated black. It doesn't look foggy or like fake next to a gloss black paint.
It is a nice deep black.
And it doesn't have the orange peel, which is huge. So normally when I'm installing gloss black, I have to take the extra step of like steaming it after just to make the finish look even passable. This looks golden. So really, really cool that they did that.
So the way you want to actually pull this, there's the layer off. You want to cut on the back of the adhesive right in the corner, pull that off, and then you have...
Show them your corner before you pull it.
So now you have a clear corner, and that's literally, you grab that, and you can pull that whole liner off. You can see the difference. So now it's nice, fresh gloss black that you know,
no scratches, ready to lay.
Totally fresh, ready to lay. And it's super, super clean. You don't have a lot of orange peel with this material, which is a huge deal with a lot of people. We have a lot of complaints about orange peel.
Well, with glosses, it's really hard, and especially black.
But you can also see how matte that adhesive really is. There's just no tack to it, which is awesome because it tacks when it wants to, when you want it to.
Another thing to keep in mind with these glosses that have the cover film, do you have that roll that's messed up?
I think
inside
so,
out?
yeah. I at least have this one.
So normally when we do a color change, we pre-cut everything. We cut all the panels out and then roll them outwards like this.
So
actually, we usually roll them inwards.
We normally roll them inwards, and not to store, just because that's how we label them. We write on them.
We write on them and everything. So we keep them stored like that for a few days, and that's
But
it.
if you are going to store material, you always want to roll it outward like this.
Definitely.
So like this was rolled up too tight. And so you can tell because see how it's wrinkling all around these edges? What that's doing is literally there's just a channel of air in here now because the paper in the back is just folded.
Because it's so low tack, it doesn't even want to stick to the back.
It just pulls right off the back. So this now is, you know, there's a big gap of air in this whole channel. You probably can't see it, but it's there. And
right, which over time, it's not gonna stick there because now it hasn't been attached to the backing paper.
And and the reason why it's doing that is because of the low tack and because of this polyester film that's over it is very durable. It's very thick, and so it's not going to want to conform with it as much.
So when you guys are working with any of the gloss colors, you need to keep them very loosely rolled up if you're pre-cutting everything, and you need to make sure they're outwards like this, color facing out.
I don't even have a roll of it, but I mean, you're going to definitely want to not get any tighter than your fist. Like then
what the roll it comes on.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So nothing too tight on that.
So let's talk about one very, very common problem that we have with speckling. So I call it speckling, I call it goosebumps, I call it, what else do we call it? Adhesive failure, I don't know. It basically looks like every body line that you hit looks like there's dirt on it or adhesive. And what is actually happening with the vinyl, this is a really common problem with all brands
vinyl
of film right now.
Yeah.
What's happening is the adhesive is literally flaking off the back and it's falling onto that body surface. So it looks like there's just like dirt or adhesive under every body line. And it's really, really common on hoods and like fenders and
a lot of the bigger panels that you're really having to
pulling.
stretch down. What it's doing is rubbing on those body lines as you're stretching the material, which is making it just rub off.
So with this film, it's
a lot less noticeable.
I saw it a little bit more with the glass black on certain areas, but it was only on stuff that we were really trying to stretch.
Probably the least out of everything I've used.
I feel like compared to all the other films on the market, this one is the best when it comes down to speckling.
For sure.
The granules of the speckles, when it does happen, are very, very small. So like right here, you see like this is dirt specks.
Yeah, I didn't clean
It
this.
normally looks like dirt, like straight up like big pieces of dirt underneath your film.
But it's only on the line.
Right.
So it's usually only on a body line. So you know it's obviously not dirt because there's no reason why there would be a perfect line of dirt.
So with this stuff though, it's very, very small granules. So like really only an installer is gonna notice them.
And most of it goes away.
Most of it goes away overnight, and with your post heat, it just relaxes down,
For sure.
and you can almost just push them out, like just push really hard, and it gets most of them out. So I feel like this material is definitely the best when it comes to getting that speckling goosebump adhesive problem. It's very, very minimal, it's fixable, and it relaxes. Super conformable film. It does still shrink when you heat it, so you can do really nice pre-stretches, handles, mirrors.
It does shrink well.
We're able to knock those out really easily. It's very thin. Like I said, really conformable.
See, like that didn't do any speckling whatsoever,
No
which is
speckling.
awesome. But the only other thing about this gloss black is if you stretch it too far, it almost turns to a satin. So in a very, very stretched recess area, you want to be careful of not stretching it too far, and you'll see it. I mean, and that's with a lot of laminates actually. So like most, even like satin laminates, they usually end up turning gloss or something, and then
Gloss turns matte.
Gloss turns matte. It
Matte
happens
turns
all the time.
satin. Yeah, so it's a common problem, and it's really if you're just focusing
if you're
on a
overstretching
single
it.
area and
Yeah.
overstretching. So if I'm like trying to hit this little corner and like overstretch, that's when you get the discoloration and the problems. You always want to
You always-
stretch things as large panels and make it suck down and pre-stretch, as opposed to just trying to hit little areas and like working it and forcing it.
Well, when you're stretching stuff, you just want to be very even with your
Even.
stretches. So pull a lot at a time rather than like a small. You don't want to just grab a section and really stretch that tiny little area, because you're going to have most likely a difference in color, or you're going to have the laminate issues.
Definitely.
So you always want to have a large panel when you're stretching, or a large surface.
Another small note with this film is it has a like a grid backing. So it's like, is that what you call it, grid? Like I'm thinking fishnet, but that's not the word
Yeah, it's
for
pretty
it.
gridlock.
It's like a
Yeah.
grid on the back. You can slightly see the texture or the pattern of the adhesive.
But you can do that. You can see that on any material.
Film, yeah, you can see it on any
If you
film.
look close enough on any film,
Some have
it's
hexagons, some
there.
have squares, some have linear adhesive patterns.
So a lot of these issues, they're not issues. They're just
Aspects
of the film that we're pointing out, and it's normal stuff. That is with any other material. It's just a normal vinyl thing.
But overall,
but there are ways to get around those things.
Overall, I feel like this is the most user-friendly.
Definitely.
And it's the easiest to work with, easiest to install. Like.
Well, I love how user-friendly it is, to where it doesn't do anything unless you want it to, and that's what I love about it.
I think that covered like everything.
Except for your face.
Ew.
See, it won't even stick on her face. Oh, So we're gonna do a pre-stretch full pull?
Okay.
Okay, so show how easily this comes off.
Yeah, the
Like,
backing paper comes off
falls
really
right
nice
off.
because it's so low tack, which means less static, which means less dirt coming up onto your vinyl. So that's a really cool plus.
Unless you just sit here for a while.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Posted.
So when you're post-heating like that with a torch, be very careful when the material is not on a surface.
Or
So
just
let
be
it,
a pro.
Let it kind of cool a little bit.
Okay. Ready?
Now you want to hit it.
Now, if you don't tap this right away, put pressure on it, it's just gonna pop up. So keep that in mind. You have to you
All you
gotta
gotta do-
have half points to put pressure down, or it's just gonna come off.
So now that we have it on the surface, we're gonna kind of just rub that down. Want to make sure you get all your, even if we left some air in here, kind of get it.
Another thing too about this film, I don't know if any of you guys have ever worked with Arlon's old color change film. I don't think they even make it anymore, but it feels almost like a balloon. Like it's like rubbery. And that might just be because it's the satin, but I felt like it was even that way with the gloss.
A lot of the satin feel that way.
It feels rubbery.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like a balloon. That's the only way I could describe it. But it stretches really, really nice.
All right.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching our episode this week. If you are interested in trying out the Cheetah Wrap film, it is only available at cheetahwrap.com right here. Sister brand of Fellers, the best vinyl suppliers in the world, I would say.
The biggest.
Shout out to Fellers and Cheetah Wraps for providing the film for us for our video and letting us do this awesome 4Runner wrap.
Oh yeah, thank you, fellies.
If you guys are interested in purchasing, you can buy the 75-foot rolls for, I think it's $3.95, or you can buy a 25-foot roll for $155. So you can't buy it by the yard. Keep that in mind. I'm sure they will have a lot more cool colors and stuff out. Look in the mail because they're sending advertisements in the mail for this and coupons. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you dig the Wrap Sesh vibe. Oh, that was fancy.
I don't know what I did.
I don't know what happened. We'll see you guys next week.